Yeah, good morning. Big game in front of us, big opportunity. Played pretty well the other night. Really battled, I thought, on the defensive end. So, and if we make some shots, I think we feel a little better from that Cincinnati game when we watched it back. Um, they got us on the glass. They just didn't convert some of those points. So that's got a little bit of our attention as we move forward and start to focus on Texas, who's an elite rebounding team. And I think I saw a stat yesterday that they get 47% of their missed shots. So they shoot it at a high percentage anyway and then get 47% of their misses. So we're going to have to do a good job on the glass against this team. With all due respect to everybody else that we have played, this is the best team we've played up to date. I know our kids will be excited for it. Disappointed for Rory Harmon, who got hurt and will miss the game because that's just a fantastic player and kid who I've watched for a long time, being in Texas. So disappointed for her, and I know they are as well. But still a great basketball team, extremely well coached. Vic's been at this for a while and does one heck of a job. So again, as we always say, they got our full attention, and we will continue to prepare here a little bit this afternoon. I hope everybody will come out. I think it should be two quality basketball teams, two top-ranked 25 teams in the country. So please come and support us. I think this team deserves the opportunity to show you what they have done up to date. Excited for this one.
You alluded to the Texas connection. When you were growing up or throughout your life, what has the University of Texas meant to you?
I don't have an affiliation to Texas in any way. No family members or anything that have gone to school there. It's, of course, one of the premier institutions in the state, and it's the University of, so those are always, the big ones, it's meant something just because it's Austin and it's UT and it's, the athletic prowess, I guess, that they have in all of their sports. So it just has that name brand recognition that everybody just, recognizes. And so from that standpoint, I think you get excited for it, but there's nothing more to it for me. There's no deep down meaning or anything that I'm trying to go prove something because we're playing the University of Texas.
How do you match up against their size?
Yeah, what about it? Sorry.
How do you match up against their size?
Yeah, well, I mean, it will be a battle, but it is every single night. They're, they've got length, they've got athleticism, they've got it at the 4 and the 5, and so whether they, Taylor Jones has been hurt here a couple games too, but another elite offensive post player, but it's not about her. Gaston's pretty good. Muhammad's have a great sophomore year. The Fay kids playing pretty well too. So they're pretty relentless in what they can do in those positions, and so we'll have to be prepared for, the many different looks, and they do run quite a bit of things. They can move them around. They can post them up, get them kind of the elbow ISO area. So you just kind of prepare for all of it and kind of play to some tendencies and get our kids as prepared as we can.
Mark, they've only played one game without Harmon, but how different did they look on tape against Texas Tech the other night without her in the lineup?
Yeah, well, they look still pretty good, and they just slide over. Booker slides over to the one now and plays quite a bit over there. Gonzalez kind of backs her up as the point guard, so they're going to look different. I mean, Rory just controlled the whole thing. She's, some people would tell you she's the best point guard in the country. So when you lose that, and she impacted the game on both ends. Rory did because of her ability to defend and score and lead, and so they'll miss that, and they'll get better as time goes, and they get more comfortable in their new roles. So I think they're going through it as any of us would. You can kind of, when kids get hurt, I think early on you play with all sorts of adrenaline and emotion, and then you start to settle in a little bit as the games go. And so they'll continue to settle in, but they played pretty well against Texas. They didn't have her against Texas Tech. They didn't have her against Baylor either. So they're a couple games in now without her, and maybe not even against Jackson State. I think they didn't have her then either.
To take about or from Baylor, from the Baylor-Texas game, and whether that be schematic or something more conceptual?
Yeah, well, I think you take something from every game that you watch. Even you can go back to last year and take things, from it. So, I think we've done our homework to find as much as we can. When you have teams this talented, you can go through all the analytics and everything, but they're really good at a lot of things. You're trying to find deficiencies, and the better teams don't have a ton of deficiencies, and so you really just kind of work through it all to find any, whether it's a matchup or, like I said, a tendency or an opportunity to take advantage of something that you can. And so that's what we've tried to do through the scout and analytics and those types of things. But yeah, they don't give you much to go off of because they're pretty elite on both ends of the floor.
Coach, Rory's terrific, and it's disappointing that she's going to miss the rest of the season, but you've got a pretty good point guard on your team too. How has Jordan, if at all, elevated her game now that competition has sort of ramped up over the last two against Kansas and Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, Jordan has transitioned seamlessly here. She's enjoyed being here from day one, so I think that's part of this is just how comfortable she is. Just being here and being around her teammates, and I think they've made her feel really welcomed. And then knowing the system, that she's been in this system and she knows and is the extension of the head coach, as we like to say. So she does have some of those qualities, but the kid works, and that's what you don't see. Like, she's a great kid, great leader, even though we're trying to get her to be a little more vocal and keep talking a little bit more. But she's in the gym all the time. She's working on her shot, working on her game. She studies the game. Pleasure to coach, easy to coach. And she's been really good and scoring it well. She really is a pass-first point guard by nature. A year ago at SFA, we needed her to score, so it was kind of like, Jordan, sorry, like you can't be, you can still pass, but we need you to score for us on this team. And so she just kind of picked up where she left off at the end of last year here and is scoring it and gives us a really nice 1-2 combo with JJ, at the guard.
We've talked, Mark, you and I, about developing culture and how that starts with the players. I'm curious how much Jordan has played a role in that, because she obviously knows what you want, but also has she helped sort of bridge the gap between that group of 6 returners and the transfers that you brought in?
Yeah, I would think so. Honestly, I haven't had that conversation with her or the team specifically to say, hey, how much has Jordan helped y'all? But I would imagine it helps. They go to her quite a bit when, you can tell if they don't know something going on or that I'm doing something else, they can go ask Jordan. But there's other coaches here, too, that have been with me that know the system and picked it up pretty early. So I would have figured the answer is yes, for sure, without really ever having that conversation. But the kid's a leader and very trustworthy and just always does the right thing. So our players feel real comfortable with her.
Looking at Jayla's stats, she's shooting the 3 ball better than she has in her entire career, and she's very much getting in on the steals as well. What's your evaluation of her been so far this season?
Yeah, Jayla's been really, really good, and we asked her to change her role a little bit early as a kid that started most of her career, that, and she took it the right way, and, it was going to be difficult to have that conversation with her, but just really liked her in the role because of the versatility that she can bring to the table. So we can play her multiple different positions. She's a really, really good defender. And a lot of our toughness, is wrapped up into Jayla, and we want that, and I want that identity with her. I would like for her to rebound it just a little bit more, but I think on the offensive end, she's settled in, she's just taking the right shots. I think in the past maybe she forced some of them and, took some that maybe she probably shouldn't have taken, but really just kind of settled into taking the right ones, and when she takes the right one, she's very capable, and she's, can get to the rim. She's pretty elite downhill driver because of her strength and ability to finish. So I think that's why you see some of her numbers maybe have spiked a little bit.
And when you say she changed her role a little bit, what does that look like? What was it maybe in the past, and what do you want it to look like?
Well, really just like the starter versus coming off the bench. The type of player, we haven't asked her to change who she is as a player. Just kind of really showed her, hey, here's where we want you to score. Here's what type of defender we think you can be. So steals are up, those types of things. But really offensively, I just wanted her to be a little more efficient and get those percentages up, and that's what she's done. So she's taken that to heart and done a really good job with it.
You mentioned Booker is running the point a little bit for them with Harmon out. She's 6'1" and is listed as a forward. How are they different, I guess, with her running the point? And does that present a matchup problem for you guys, because she could get inside off the ball if she needs to?
She can, yeah, no, she's a matchup problem regardless of where she plays, though. Whether she's the point or off the ball, she's a matchup problem. This is a kid that'll be in the running probably for the freshman of the year, and now she's going to have the ball in her hands even, quite a bit more. But yeah, so she's a big body. She can, get to mid-range is where she lives. I mean, she plays at Texas and wears 35, who's Kevin Durant, right? So I would I don't know if that's exactly why. I don't know the whole story, but when you watch her play, you're like, yeah, okay, there may be some similarities there. So, she's the mid-range queen a little bit, and I say that with the ultimate compliment. But she gets to the rim, she can shoot the 3, she's got size, and she can elevate over you. Really talented basketball kid, and in particular on the offensive end too. But, on the defensive end, she just has size, and strength. And she'll present a problem, but she presents a problem regardless of what position that she plays.
Success the team has had, national ranking, undefeated start. Have you noticed a difference in the team members in the day-to-day? Are they handling the success well? Do you notice any difference from November 1 to now?
Yeah, no, not really. To be completely honest, I haven't really noticed much different, and that's kind of the even keel nature of this team. They are just steady Eddie. They always have been, never too high, never too low. We've talked about this a little bit, but there's certain games when it's not going our way that I kind of want more, like, come on, give me something, like this isn't going right. But at the same time, you kind of like it. Like, coach, relax. Like, we kind of got you here, and then we go out and go on a 9-2 run or something behind it, and you just kind of like, okay, I guess that's just what we got and who we are, and that's part of our DNA. But I think to answer your question, that's what's been kind of nice too, is a ranking or those things haven't changed who we are or how we work or the way we operate. And really, we don't really even talk about it, to be completely honest. I think we said it once when we got in there, when we got to 24th up from 25th. I think I heard somebody comment on that, so I knew they had already seen that poll. And other than that, we haven't really said much. I think their focus maybe once Big 12 play, I think we turned it up a little bit from a preparation and attention to detail. I do think they maybe turned a corner there just a hair, but it might just be familiarity with the opponents as well and who we're playing against.
About adaptability before, how you can play a bunch of different styles. How do you coach that, especially in a game like Cincy? JJ's not doing what JJ normally does, but you've got two others that swing in. Kylie might have had a down game, but then Tabby and Tears that come in. How do you constantly keep pieces like that in play and ready?
Yeah, it's just you build it early on and trying to give kids the freedom to play to their strengths and to be themselves. And I've used this one, I want them to play free of mind. And when you can play free of mind, you allow several kids to be at their best. And JJ is our primary scorer and extremely talented on the offensive end. But if she has a night where she isn't great, I want to be good enough around her to pick her up. But I think that's team sports. That's what really good teams do. And, if we need to win and play fast, we can do that. If we need to grind one out, I think we have the ability to do that as well. But it's just picking up your teammates and then giving kids the freedom to feel like they have, they can have an impact. And I tell them all the time, you never know whose night it's going to be. We never know. And so relish the opportunity when it is your night, cheer for your teammates when it's not, because it's going to come back full circle at some point. So just stay ready. All right, thanks guys.